I take a loan from a bank, and I lost it all, $100,000 challenge, and I completed in 9 months or so, or maybe 7 months.
Okay, so this morning I'm joined by Psychoff, legendary football trader. I think many people that follow my channel will probably already be aware of Psychoff, but for those who are not aware, can you just briefly introduce yourself, let us know what you're about and how you've ended up in this position now?
Thank you, Caan. First of all, thanks again for taking me to your channel, and hello to everyone who watches us in this interview. As Caan mentioned, my nickname is Psychoff, and my real name is Ersan Guven, and I'm from Turkey. We moved to England in 2016, and before then we were living in Turkey with my family. As a background, I'm a medical doctor and a psychiatrist, and my interest in Betfair trading was started in 2005 when I was educating on psychiatry. Before Betfair, I was interested in some online games like some board games, which is 4 in a row, which is a simple game. And there was a website which was hosting this game to players who wants to play online for cash. For £1 a game, £2 a game, £5 was the maximum, I guess. And I remember I made my living from that simple game for 1 or 2 years. And then I jumped to other games. I remember a card game which is called Gin Rummy, something like that, which is played with 10 cards. I was using a software which I can follow the cards which were used, so it was easier for me to
Card counting.
estimate the next card. And then one of my friends, who knows my interest about these online games, introduced me with Betfair. And I started to investigate it because it was quite different than the traditional bookmakers. I think, and I'm sure, I love some challenges between people. I love challenging with someone else rather than with a company or a bookmaker. So what attracted me to exchange and Betfair is, I think, the most important thing is trading with someone else like you, with another trader. So beating someone else.
So this was in 2005, right?
Yes.
So you were part of the earlier. I mean, obviously it was about several years before, but it was kind of like the first early adoption where exchanges become quite popular.
Yeah. I asked later to Betfair when was my account opened, and they replied it was January 2005. Now that account was closed because it was from Turkey, and Turkey is not the legal country for Betfair now, so I use another account, UK account now. But my original account was from 2005. So I started to not trade, but first try to understand what's going on. How can I?
Sorry, I've got to ask. Did they? So you obviously, I mean, you've moved to the UK, so you're using a UK account now. That's all fine. Did they make sure they carried over your premium charge allowance from one to the
other? Thankfully, they didn't.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
If if they've done that, it was really a win for me. But the reason, I guess, I had to use several accounts after that. It was not for getting rid of premium charge, but it was because of the position of Turkey. Betfair never wanted to lose the customers in the restricted countries, and they found some other solutions, and I used those solutions as well. I don't want to give
No, that's cool. No,
yeah.
I think most people will be aware of that, and that's
Yes,
fine
yes,
anyway.
I
It's all
guess so.
legitimate. So What was it that moved you from to football? Really, I guess. Is it just because football's a passion for you, or was it? Did you see a
Yes, yes.
specific edge that attracted you to football?
Uh, First, I really love football, watching football from my childhood. It doesn't matter which game, which match it is. I really love to watch uh, football matches. So I didn't look at any other sports than football at the beginning, and I just started to think about how can I uh, turn this into profit? How can I make money from this buying and selling thing? Because it was really very new. Uh, and then I met the software BetAngel around that dates. I can't estimate the exact date, but it was, I think, near just after I uh, introduced to Betfair. So BetAngel, or a software, let's say, really makes the things easier to send the bets quickly, cancel them, change them, and make, I started to trade basically. In those days, nobody was expert or professional on trading sports, so it was easy. So I found a way to make money very easily and very quickly as well. Uh, which
It's interesting your thought process. So just thinking back to when you were playing gin rummy, you had the kind of like card counting type software, so you knew what cards were in play. Your kind of go to from the start was not this traditional angle where people often think it's a professional gambler. It's because they just know something or they have some magical analysis power. You know, you straight away you were looking for software, looking for the edges, the advantages, and sort of going towards market characteristics.
Mhm.
And do you think that some of that come from your background as a psychiatrist, like you said before? And also, sorry, just to throw in there, I remember because I came around about 2007, and you had a partner that you bet with a little bit at first, didn't you? Because you had a brief blog that was, maybe if you can sort of elaborate on that a little.
Yes, I'm coming to that point. I started to make profits very fast, and I really like drunk because I thought that yes, I found a way to become rich. Uh, Sorry, I had a COVID-19 last month,
Oh God.
and still some cough. It's mild now, but it sometimes happens. So in a few months, I found myself looking at luxury cars in showrooms, which I shouldn't have done, but I did, unfortunately. Uh, we can say this greed, too much greed. Uh, I know I have some power, but I couldn't use it efficiently. And in a very few weeks, I lost all the winnings I've made. I lost all my investments up to that day. We had a private retirement shame in Turkey. I withdrew all the money which accumulated there, and I lost it as well. And finally, I take a loan from a bank, and I lost it all. And it was my final bullet, and I shot it, and I missed the target again. So at that point, we have lots of loan credit to the bank to pay. I was working as a doctor in a clinic, and my wife was working in a bank, and she didn't know any part of these losses. And one day I confessed her that I lost every penny we have, and we have some credits as well to pay. Uh, she was very cool and said, "Okay, what is done has done, but promise me you will not trade or gamble again. We can we can schedule our loans, and we can pay gradually, and I accepted, and I quit trading and gambling, anything, and I started to work as a regular doctor. That's why my partner. That's where my partner comes in. While I'm mentioning about this in the clinic, he said, "I see some potential in you, but it's obvious that you couldn't control yourself efficiently. So what if I invest you some money uh, and help you to restart again? But this time you will be more careful. I believe that you got some lessons from your uh, mistakes, and we will open a blog if you want, and we will write every day what you have done. So this will be a control on you as well. So there was nothing for me to lose, but there was a promise that I gave to my wife, and asked her about for her permission, and she said, "Okay, if there will be no risk." She accepted. I restarted again with the help of him. Uh, he was not a trader; he was an ophthalmologist, and we were working in the same clinic with him. I owe him really too much in every way. It's not about just his investment to me, but the mentorship that he gave to me. In each day, every day, at the end of the session, we were talking on internet, and we were discussing about that day's trades, my mistakes, my good wins, and we were posting a blog post which was psychoff .blogspot.com. We ran it for several years. He was translating it. I was saying Turkish, writing Turkish. He was translating.
Just to jump in a sec, so he kind of wasn't involved in the gambling side or the strategy side so much. It was more. It's almost like he was mentoring you, and he bankrolled you, and he was keeping you straight. That's really interesting because so many people go off on a tangent, as we know, on the tilt and can't control themselves. But you had almost like a father type figure guiding you. That's fascinating. Yeah.
He's one of his kind. He's a really, very super person. And when I go to Turkey, we still meet with him and talk about trading and exchange. And he's still interested in tennis trading sometimes, but not professionally. He's just talking, thinking on the hypothesis or something. He's not a trader. Anyway, that this time things went well, and I started to develop both money and knowledge together. We ran a $100,000 challenge. We started in 2009, and we said that we will complete this in a year. And I think I completed in 9 months or so, or maybe 7 months. That's where our name Psychoff comes from as well. Psych coming from psychiatry, ophthalmology. Off comes from his specialization. So Psychoff comes from.
I remember reading.
Not from psycho. We are not psychos.
No. I remember reading that early blog. That's fascinating to hear that because I didn't quite know that backstory even now, and obviously we've met before and I never knew until now. So as things have developed over time, obviously the exchange has changed a fair bit. What are your general feelings on how things have gone and maybe how that's impacted your activity too? Like, have you had to evolve a lot, or is it very similar to when you first started out, what you're doing? And because obviously there's been a lot of change with Betfair.
Yes, it really evolved over the time. I became a full-time trader in, I can't remember the exact date, but after 2010. I quit from the clinic I was working for, and I opened my private clinic, which I was very free to uh, limit my working hours according to my trading schedule. Um, but I always traded as a full-time trader, and I tried to understand the changes because it changed, it's still changing every year. The market dynamics, the liquidities, everything is changing. I try to adapt all these changes all the time, and I'm still trying to adapt. But now, in the last years, I started to decrease my time that I give to Betfair. Before that, I was trying to trade all day, all night, with all my energy and power. But now, uh, as I'm close to my 50, I started to decrease the time I invest in Betfair.
So overall, I guess that sort of signals that you're not quite so happy on how things have developed a little bit. I mean, we've all got frustrations. You may have seen the previous insiders call where I had someone from Betfair come on, and I've just seen this week that they're talking about the deposit limit for the under 25s as well. It doesn't look brilliant generally. I mean, obviously it's very dramatic to say it's the end of the world. It's certainly not. But
About the limitations for the younger people below 25, I think I disagree from the most, maybe including you, because I got the point where the government is looking from. Uh, of course, from the perspective of a trader, it's a disadvantage for us because the liquidity becomes less and so other factors. But from the psychiatrist or a doctor perspective, some bad habits really starts in those ages, and if you limit a young person from depositing too much money to gambling or this kind of activities, this can really help some people to get a bad habits in their life. So it's a gray area. It's
I know. I think I mean, I guess that's a separate topic in a way.
yes.
There's a lot of room for development there, but I think the way it is currently is not really effective because people will just go elsewhere. But how that plays out is probably often a tangent. So going back to the football, because I guess that's probably more what people are interested in. Are you focused on watching the game? How important is that to you? Actually watching what's happening on pitch, or is it more of a marketplace thing? You know, like you said about the cards, and knowing the characteristics and limits and boundaries of the market.
Both of them I can say, but my biggest edge I can say is watching and reading the game. Without it, I can't do anything. If you get the pictures away from me, I'm nothing. I need to watch the game, and while watching, I try to figure out the mispricings in the market. And in these days, unfortunately, these mispricings become very less, and markets become very efficient because of the help of the bots and artificial intelligence things, better data, and everything is getting more difficult and difficult every day. It's very difficult to find mispricing and mistakes that the bots or the people do.
One
But
thing you said there, I think is really key though, is it's really about the mispricing, because I know from the many comments on the YouTube channel in the past, so many people turn up and say, oh, it's not about the price, it's about predicting what's going to happen. And it's like, yes, they do go hand in hand, but the pricing is the most important thing. So
in trading, there is no only one right. There are lots of rights, lots of corrects. But from my point of view, I focus on pricing. But others can say yes, guessing what will happen next. But my point is, I see everything with its price. It can be a good mouse, it can be a good cup of coffee, but the price is important. If the price is okay, I can buy everything or I can sell everything. It's all about the price. It's not about the product. This can be
yeah, of course, yeah.
something that I can sell or buy. It doesn't matter if I believe in this or not. If doesn't matter, I believe in Barcelona to win or not. It's all about the pricing. If you sell Barcelona from 140 in a game, I can buy Barcelona. If you sell Barcelona from 1.10, I can sell Barcelona. It doesn't matter if I believe strongly in Barcelona.
Yeah, and I think that's really what I was kind of trying to get over. Like the anticipation can be helpful, but ultimately you need to be able to define, and price is definable. It's a black and white type metric. So you're educating some people now as well. I believe you've got some courses.
Yes.
You've got a website. Do you want to? I mean, what? In fact, I kind of know the answer to this. So this is probably more for people watching, because I'm familiar with what people say too, and they say, "Oh, if you're trading, why do you need to do courses and stuff like this?" And I understand why they would say that. And there are plenty of people out there that that, not mention anyone specifically, that are being disingenuous. However, that said, you've moved to the UK, and so your reason for doing courses. Do you want to explain a little bit to people and let them know about the courses too?
Yes, sure. I started to give some courses 2 years ago, and I completed 4 of them. And we have a nice group of people, my students, now my friends, with them. And we are still active in this group every day. And it's a very friendly one, which we share our knowledge, experiences, and live game discussions every day, every night. And the idea of giving lessons is difficult to accept for some people. As you say, they 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 can say easily, why are you giving your edge? Honestly, if I have an edge like this, for example, if there is a game which is 1-1 at the minute of 70, if one of the teams have the possession of 70 or more percent, then back that team. If my edge was like this, of course, giving away this will ruin my profit. But during my courses, it's not something like that. I showed people the way I trade. We start from the software and hardware I use. And I try to teach them how I think during a live match. All my courses are live and I trade and they watch. While they are watching me, I always explain why I'm doing this, why I'm backing now, why I'm waiting, why I'm closing my position, what is the point, what's the reason. I answer all their questions and everything is live and
But lots of things, I think the point you're making is lots of things change, so it's hard to have a fixed, 1, 2, 3 strategy.
you can't. And I have never had any single strategy that worked for a while. Maybe some people have, but I have never had any. My main strategy is I know how to trade, how to evaluate the price, and how to enter a market and exit the market. I'm trying to teach people that. And when I teach this, I don't believe that I lose my edge because maybe this is a very exaggerated example, but if Messi teaches you how to take a free kick, does Messi's edge disappears? No. I just teach them, but it will take too much time for them to be an opponent for me and get my profit from me, because they need too much experience as well, too much commitment, too much time to give in this.
I guess on top of that, the other things I was maybe thinking toward is, you said you had COVID. I guess you had no problems self-isolating, right?
No.
It's very solitary, trading for a living. So that kind of helps a little there. But then also on top of that, having moved to the UK, but having a sort of a taxable income and business is a something that you probably needed, right?
Yeah, sure. It's the point of starting. For getting an indefinite visa, being a taxpayer is a key. It's not a must, but it helps a lot. So it's one of the reasons that I started to give these courses. I have lots of reasons for that. Another one, it's a social, a way of socialization for me. I have lots of friends. I have lots of people by the help of these courses. And I said I will stop. I will not continue trading for the next 10 or 15 years. So I have something valuable still. And why don't I sell this when it is still valuable? Because I will not use it for the next 10 or 20 years more. But some people will use. So I can sell it to people who will use after me. There are lots of reasons. And I'm not giving it cheap. It's another thing. There are some courses you can find on the net, some books. I'm not mentioning your book. It's a great one. It's still there. And can you see it?
I
don't know.
can't there, but yeah.
It's next to Bruce Dickinson's.
Actually, I can now. Yeah. No. I know what you're saying. I mean, that's obviously a very rudimentary, basic starter book for people.
Yes, and I set as an obligation to my son to read your book before he started to trade. I said, first you have to read Caan's book and learn some basics and have some basic knowledge, and then we will continue. So you can find lots of courses, books for very cheap prices, and it's. I don't say they are useless, but you can't be a good trader after finishing that cheap courses. Yes, you can get a notion, you can get a point,
Yeah,
but
no,
that's all.
I agree 100%. So some of your stuff is very expensive. Particularly, I can't remember what you called it. Maybe was it an advanced? Is it a 1-to-1? What do people get for that? Was that, I can't remember the price on that now. I did look the other day when we spoke.
It's now 3,500. Only one course, not basic and advanced. In this beginning, there were two courses. I joined them, I merged them. Now there is only one course, 15 hours. It lasts a week. And I've already made a poll in my students, friends, and asked them after completing my course, which is at least 1 year, what's your profit loss situation? And every 2 or 3 students said they are in profit after completing the course, which is super ratio. Not perfect. I wish it was 100%, but
I'll put a link in the description to your Twitter or whatever, so people can find that below. Sorry, go on.
And I decided to make only one course a year from now on, just one course a year, and we will do our next one in October 25. And I'm accepting the registrations now, and there are some people who have already registered in. And I can't guarantee their success because it depends on their commitment as well. As you said, I can't give them a golden bullet.
I mean,
But
it's just the
show them.
it's just the internet. I think that happens a lot. A lot of people kind of expect maybe to, when they get things, to sort of like get something, read it for half an hour, and then be making loads of money. It doesn't work like that, does it? In any trading.
Yes, but fortunately, my students are aware of them when they join my course because with most of them we send some emails or have some chat beforehand, and I describe them what to expect and what to not. So they are aware of what they expect and what they will see.
So just one last thing to finish up on then, because we've used a bit of time there. Have you got like what would you say is probably the best bit of advice you can give to football traders that are watching this now on YouTube? I mean, I know it might be quite broad and sweeping. Is there one thing that they should focus on, or
As you mentioned, there are lots of ways to be successful in trading, but from my point of view, I advise them to understand the odds, which I call prices, and why, for example, especially in play prices, because I pre-off or pre-kickoff prices, I found them very difficult to make profit from. I have some friends. I know someone who makes it with success, but maybe because it's another skill, and I don't have that skill
okay?
at all. But in play, you can see the price changes, and we need volatility to make profit from. If there's a stable pricing, you need to wait it to change over time. But during in play, try to understand, watch the game, watch the prices, monitor the prices, and try to understand the relationship between the play, the game, and the price. And if you watch enough games, I can say it can be maybe 500 games, 1,000 games, 2,000 games. You have a chance to understand what is going on and what the price drops suddenly, or sometimes you can notice that the price. I'm talking about the unders price, especially when I say price. It's under or overs. For example, in a match which is 2-0, I'm talking about the under 2.5. The price stays there for a while. It stays there. Normally, we expect it to drop with time decay, but sometimes it stays there for 1 minute, 2 minutes, sometimes more. Try to understand why. Or sometimes it stays there and then drops, and it's not related to the free kick or the football. It's not related. So try to understand this relationship. So when you start to understand this, you have an option to enter and exit the market and make the profit from these price changes
Very low risk, yeah.
in a very quick risk, in a very quick time, and with very low risk. This can be my recommendation for them. And during my courses, we mostly focus on understanding these price changes with live examples. We watch the games together with my students, and I explain what's happening, why it's happening, and I trade with real money.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Looking for that compression. Yeah. Well, I think we've done a little bit of time there, so that's plenty from me. Is there anything else you want to add before we go?
No, but I'm glad because I have concerns about understanding your English, because we first met in 2017 after I came to England, and I really struggled too much.
I talk too fast, I know. I'm sorry.
Yes, and my yellow card and red card are ready to show you.
Brilliant.
If you talk too fast, then you will be shown this, but no need. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks ever so much for coming on, Ersin. I shall leave it there.
Thank you, Caan, for having me. Have a nice day, and thanks for the watchers for watching this video. Thank you.